Man, I haven't been a morning person my entire life, y'all. Like I'm talking about I've never been a morning person. I'm still not a morning person. I get up early, a lot of mornings, ridiculously early sometimes, but I'm still not a morning person. But most of my life, I hated mornings. Most of my life, the thought of getting up early was torture. Even on vacations. Like I was like, I got to get up early to go to the beach. Heck no. I hated mornings. I'm still not great in the mornings. But I turned a corner in my life. At some point in my growth, I turned a corner and I realized something. In every area of my life, I realized I've got something worth waking up for. That's right. I realized I got something worth waking up for. And I want you to know this. There are things in life that you need to wait on, and there's things in life you need to wake up. And waiting doesn't work in the areas of your life that you need to wake up. And I'm going to jump right in this thing. The promise of Easter should affect your perspective today. Matter of fact, the hope of Easter should change your life today and every day. And every day. I'm not preaching to you today about the promise of one day. Man, it's beautiful. The promise of Easter of one day is beautiful, y'all. It's beautiful, but it should affect your life today. Man, I believe it when Paul says that if it not be for the resurrection, our faith in preaching is in vain. I believe it when Paul says that now we see through a glass darkly, but we will see face to face. I believe it when Jesus said, I'm the resurrection and the life. I believe it when Jesus said, because I live, you also will live. I believed it when Paul, even though he died way too soon because of his faith, I believe it when he said, death, where is your sting? Where is your victory? I believe that when the people you love are lowered into the ground and they die way too soon and it doesn't end well, that this is not the end. This is only the beginning. That is a beautiful promise. I bank my life on it. I bank my life on it. It's what gives me peace and resolve in moments that I would lose my mind, because this is not the end. This is only the beginning. I believe it. It's why that I have peace, that my dad is with Jesus. It's why I have been able to be open with you about gut-wrenching parts of his life. I have been able to talk about the effects. It's why I've been able to be open about what killed him and why it doesn't have to kill you. It's why my daddy's with Jesus, and that gives me peace. It hurts that he's not here. It hurts that he can't see what his life could have been, but he's with Jesus. And that is a peace that I will carry, and it's a peace that I bank my life on. Man. Angie and I have a very unique love story, and I'm not going to talk about it today because we're talking about Jesus and Easter. But if you come long enough, you'll know it. But I tell all my kids, whether it's Garrett, we call him Russ, as his daddy in heaven, or their biological daddy, I tell them all the time, we talk about a man dying so young of cancer only can make sense in light of eternity. Right. Only can make sense in light of eternity. I tell you guys all the time, because if I died tomorrow, if I didn't show up next Sunday to preach on this stage, I want you to know, I never want you to doubt what I preached. Right. This is not the end. If I'm not here next Sunday, what I said is still true. This is a warm-up act, Catalyst. Oh, it's a warm-up act. I believe it. I bank my life on it. I never want, if I don't come back here ever again, I never want you to doubt the things I preached. Because the promise of Easter is beautiful. It's beautiful, and you can find peace in it. But the promise of Easter is more than one day. The promise of Easter is more than what is to come. Matter of fact, Jesus, he saw the cross as a promise. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross. He didn't look at the cross as something to survive. He looked at the cross as something that was in front of him. Easter isn't just about the promise of what's to come. It's about the promise that's right in front of you. And I'm going to preach about the promise that's right in front of you, because I believe one day will take care of itself if you will see what God has put right in front of you, and the hope that this Sunday applies to that. Because Easter can be your story, but it doesn't just happen because you come to church and want it to and have hope in it. It comes to church. It comes to life when you actually choose it. And I'm preaching about that today. As a matter of fact, I may make some morning people out of you yet. And some of you are like, please. It's better for me to raise from the dead than to get up at 8 a.m. That's okay. Tell somebody I got something worth waking up for. There's some things in your life that you need to quit waiting and believing for. You need to just wake up to, because the promise of Easter is God's got some things right in front of you and you were missing it. Regardless of why you're missing it, you're missing a catalyst. I want to take you to Luke chapter 24. It is my favorite, probably my favorite passage of Easter. Luke 24. Let me give you some backstory. Jesus is dead. He's dead. And they are broken. They got blindsided. Everybody who loved him is scattered. They didn't see it coming. Even though Jesus said he was going to die and raise from the dead, they didn't understand it. They didn't see it. They were blindsided. They loved him. They banked his life on him. They gave up everything for him. And he was dead. And they were grieving, so grief-stricken that you see all the different Easter stories throughout the gospel accounts, because they just scatter, because that's what we do. We don't even know how to keep our head up, so we just scatter. You've been there before in your life. The way you planned it just didn't happen that way. The way you prayed for it, you got blindsided. It wasn't what you thought it was going to be. It was the exact opposite. That's where they were. If you've lived long enough, there's some things that just didn't happen nearly the way you thought, and you were left in the situation to grieve it and to move forward or to stay stuck in it. And he's dead. And where we're going to pick up in Luke 24 is Mary, mother of Jesus, Mary Magdalene. They're coming with several other ladies to grieve Jesus. They're heartbroken. Tell somebody, I'm ready to grow. Oh, yeah. Luke 24, here we go. But very early on Sunday morning, the women went to the tomb, taking the spices they had prepared. Now, I want you to see this. They were taking spices because they thought he was dead. The Jews did not embalm bodies. What they were doing is they grieved the body as long as they could. So they took several women because it took several people to move the stone. Their goal was to move the stone, lady power, right? They were going to move the stone so that they could grieve the body, and the spices were to help the odor so that they could grieve longer. Because, you're talking, decomposition happens pretty fast. So they are thinking, this joker's dead. They have no hope. There's some things in your life you're like, I don't even know how I can come out of that. I don't even know where to start. They were going to a grave to grieve. They had no hope he was alive. They had spices, and they thought he was dead. They found that the stone had been rolled away from the entrance. So they went in, but they didn't find the body of the Lord Jesus. As they stood there puzzled, two men, these are angels, suddenly appeared to them clothed in dazzling robes. The women were terrified and bowed their faces to the ground. Then the men asked, why do you look for the living among the dead? He isn't here. He is risen from the dead. Remember, the angel said, remember what he told you back in Galilee. He told y'all what was going to happen. God's made you some promises. That's right. Told you. He told you what was going to happen back in Galilee. The Son of Man must be betrayed into the hands of sinful men and be crucified, that he would rise again, and that he would rise again on the third day. Check this out. Then they remembered that he said this. They woke up. They woke up. Tell somebody it's time to wake up. It is time to wake up. What happened? They came to the grave. They were grieving. It's that roll stage of grief. When you lose, and I'm telling you, grief happens a lot more than when you lose a person you love. Grief happens when you lose anything. Your brain and your heart get broken, whether you lose a dog, whether you lose a friend because of a bad relationship, a divorce. It doesn't matter. By the way, pets don't affect me as much as most people. I guess I'm heartless, but I digress. I love people more than pets. I'm sorry. I love y'all. Just be thankful. I love you more than your cat. Trust me. But the grieving, man, I'm not talking about that roll stage, where you're hugging the tombstone because you cannot understand that this is where you're at and it's not what you planned. That's the stage of grief they're in. It's raw. It's raw. It is raw. And they show up and they got extra help. They got some ladies because they're going to move the stone because they're so raw, they still want to see his body. They want to see what once was. They want to grieve over it. They show up the tomb. They show up and the stone's rolled away. So they come in there. You imagine, put this in American, people are nosy, right? Okay. It's always been, that's a human thing. Americans just have more access to be nosy. Come in. Oh my, what's going on? See, the body's missing. I know what they're thinking. They're like, oh my God, they stole the body. They won't let us live. They stole it. Because there's so much scandal behind Jesus back then. And the angels just come up. Dazzle and Rose, they scare them. Because angels, touched by an angel, missed it, y'all. Oh, he's doggone little sweet white robes with halos. Beyonce missed it. Angels were beasts. This is terrifying. They're like, oh my gosh, somebody stole it. They're like in archaic times, like when men showed up unannounced to women, it was not good for the women. It says they bowed to the ground. They were terrified. And the angels, I'm going to focus the rest of this message on what the angels' challenge was. Because it wasn't just a question, it was a challenge. Because this is the principles and promise of Easter that if you will apply to your life today, it can change your life today. And the best thing you have to pray for isn't one day. You got some things right in front of you. The angels asked these ladies, why are you looking for the living among the dead? Why are you here? Why are you here? Jesus was here while he was dead, but he's not dead and he's not coming back here. And if you want Jesus, you need to leave here and never come back too. That's the promise of Easter today. Not one day. Today. Why are you here? I guarantee you, all over the country right now, all over the country, I bet most churches are singing that song, Graves to Gardens. It's not us. You may like it, I don't. It's a cool bridge. Here's the thing. God wants to turn your graves into gardens. Gardens don't happen in graveyards. Memorial gardens happen in graveyards. But memorial gardens are celebrations of what once was. But Easter is more than a celebration of what was and what is to come. Easter is a promise of what God has put right in front of you that you were missing because you're here. These ladies were good ladies, y'all. Why are you here? The angel was saying, why are you looking for the living? Why? You call Jesus the way, the truth, and the life. You pursue him. You spend your life pursuing his love. Why are you looking for the love of a living God in a graveyard? There's some graveyard mindsets that you don't even know. You've gotten so comfortable, you don't even know you're in them. And the angel's saying, why are you here? Why are you here? Because what you're looking for won't be found here. You cannot keep looking for life. You keep coming up empty because you're in a graveyard and what God wants to do in your life doesn't happen there. That's right. The best that you're ever going to get is praying for one day until you decide to apply the principles of Easter today, because it should change your perspective on today that Jesus is still alive. Not one day, today. Why are you here? Why are you here? Tell somebody, get out of the graveyard. I mean this in the small ways, the big ways, we're about to jump into it. You've got to get out of the graveyard, because the angel wasn't just saying that to the ladies 2,000 years ago. God is speaking that and challenging you that today. I love you. I have plans for you. I've got some things to do in your life before you're in my presence physically. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why live in hell and when you don't have to, and then die and go to heaven? Why not take him up right now on it? Why? Can I apply it? Can we change our perspective today? Y'all good with that? This isn't sacrilegious, so y'all leave me alone. I'm going somewhere with that. Goodness gracious. I'm going to cave the coffin in. I'm going to trip over the curtain. I'm going to get this out of my way before y'all really have something. I won't walk off the stage. I'll face plant on the stage with the curtain. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? Mary and Joseph, or excuse me, Mary, mother of Jesus, Mary, they were good women. Mary was the mother of Jesus. She sacrificed her entire life and plans to mother Jesus and be frowned upon by everybody else. Mary Magdalene was like the type of girl that you would never let your son date, and Jesus completely cleaned her up and healed her. These were good women. They were loyal women. You were a good person. You were not a bad person. You've made bad decisions for a long time, and you may be in a broken situation, and you may feel like you're lost in the broken situation because you've chosen to draw life in places that drain you for too long. You were not a bad person. You've gotten lost in bad decisions. Why are you here? We like to compare. We're like, say, I'll never be Mary. I'll never be Jesus. No, you're a good person. You just got to quit getting lost. Why are you here? You need to be honest. For the rest of this message, will you be honest with yourself? Because all I can do is start the conversation for you. You've got to be honest and open in every area of your life and answer the question and challenge yourself. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you looking for life in places that leave you empty? Why do you keep choosing to try to draw life from things that drain you? We spend our life looking for what God offers. Just like the girls, they're grieving, and he's alive, man. What God offers you, get out of the graveyard. That's right. You spend your life trying to draw from sources that will never satisfy you. You're fishing for affirmation, and you think you're fishing in a lake that has no fish. No, I'm a sucky fisherman. I can't even catch fish in a lake that has tons of them. You're actually fishing and coming up empty in a graveyard. You're fishing for affirmation. You're looking for people to give you confidence, and you wonder why you have no confidence. You're trying to get encouragement's good, but if that's what you live on and live by, you're going to come up empty, because the Bible says in him we are made complete. The only place you can be satisfied and complete is in the one who created you and loves you and knows you better than you know you. And I'm not talking about your junk. I'm talking about the stuff you can do if you will finally walk out of the graveyard that you've been living in. You were not bad because you go from relationship to relationship and man to man and woman to woman because you can't find yourself. You're looking for love and life, and you keep coming up empty because you were looking for it. Why are you looking? Why are you looking for the living? Why are you looking for the living among the dead? Why are you trying to find Jesus in places where he can't fill you because you're looking at everything else? You spend your life trying to get other people's approval. You spend your life trying to not feel rejected. You spend your life trying to prove your point in every situation. You're not a bad person. You just keep trying to find life in a graveyard. You don't even know where to get out. You don't even know how. You know that you're not going to get what you're looking for there, but you keep doing it, and it's draining you. And the promise and principle of Easter, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? Because you're not bad. You're pulling from places that'll never satisfy. Yeah, I brought a liquor bottle in church. Leave me alone. These are Skittles, by the way. Tara is a wonderful executive pastor. She was like, just in case the kids get into it, we're going to put Skittles. Kids, stay away from these Skittles. We love Tara. You will not find what you're looking for here. And I know I got some amens right now from people there's some amens like, you're right. You need to tell my son that. Listen, there's a lot more things than this that you're going to, even if you don't go to drugs and alcohol and things that kill you. I'm telling you, you can go to your career. You can go to your spouse to try to numb your pain. You can pour yourself into money. You can pour yourself into your kids, but they're going to get up and they're going to grow and they're going to build their own life. And you're going to be stuck having to answer the question at 50 years old, why are you here? There are some things right in front of you that you were missing because you are lost. And Jesus is saying, why are you here? I love you. I won't give you life. This may numb your pain for a while, but it will leave you lifeless. Oh, I know you can hurt less. You can pull yourself into anything. You can make anything your identity, and it may numb you for a while, but it will rob you. Come on now, Man, I told you, I'm at peace. My daddy's in heaven, but I'm going to tell you, my dad left so much on the table that God offered him right here. My dad was more gifted than my social intelligence came from watching my dad. Oh, I'm at pieces with Jesus, but he left. Van Bonner left some stuff on the table that Jesus said. For his 48 years, he said, why are you here? I love you so much, and you can find me long before you face me. And it's tragic, and it doesn't have to be you. If you will acknowledge, if you will answer the question and challenge yourself. The gospel is something that you don't just receive, you choose every single day. Why are you here? Tell somebody, wake up. Wake up. Because you may numb your pain, but you can miss life. There's always an excuse to do it. There's always an excuse not to. There's always an excuse to stay in the graveyard. And it may sound good. There's always an excuse to not eat bad. There's always, you're talking to the food addict of them all. Man, I've never drank alcohol because I just didn't want to open up the addiction that I have in my family. But I'm going to tell you, I love to eat. I've gotten better. I'm the best place in my life. I learned how to save them calories, but I love to eat, and I'll spend the rest of my life. Look, there's always an excuse to eat. Okay. I'm telling you, it's the 17th day. It's 17th day of the 7th promotion, and I'm going to eat 17 cheeseburgers because I was good for like 2 hours. So at that 2 hours of eating good, I deserve to mess my day up. There is always an excuse, and you're going to be looking in the mirror like, oh, I can't lose weight. You can't lose weight because you're always got an excuse to eat. I'm not preaching at you. I'm preaching to me. Man, because the happy, sad, I'm going to the pantry. I don't need alcohol. Give me some food. There's always an excuse to party like a rock star every weekend. I'm telling you, you're like, I work so hard, I should be able to have fun. There's always an excuse, but I'm going to tell you something. You are not going to get the results at 40 when you're partying like you did at 20. Why are you here? 2,000 years later, God is challenging you with the gospel. You are looking for the living among the dead. What I want to do in your life is not going to happen in those habits and in those mindsets. Have fun, but I'm telling you, there comes a time where you are coping, trying to have fun, and God is saying the things that you're coping, the things you're trying to find peace in, the things you're trying to find healing in, you will only find them in me. And you don't have to find them one day in heaven. You can find them right now as you grow closer to God. Why are you here? There's always an excuse to stay depressed. There's always an excuse to be bitter and angry and feel betrayed. There's always an excuse. There's always an excuse. And let me tell you something. You may have gotten a gut punch in your life. It may take a little bit longer to get out of the graveyard. But you get to choose how long you stay there. And one step at a time, there is always an excuse to take a step backwards. There's always an excuse to live in the depression and the disappointment of what people, what life that you've lived in. There is always an excuse. But the gospel to this day, 2,000 years later, is still just as true as that first time, that first day when the angel said, why are you here? Amen. It's true for you. Why are you here? You don't have to stay depressed. You don't have to stay stuck. The gospel is you don't, but you don't find freedom. You don't find what you're looking for. You don't find life. You don't find the gifts that God has given you in the graveyard. You've got to leave. The angel said, he's not here. He's not coming back. You're not going to find him here. Amen. That's the promise of Easter Catalyst. That's the promise. Tell somebody to get out of the graveyard. Get out of the graveyard. Where are my single people at? I knew that was coming. It came first. Everybody's like, you want me to really give you anxiety? Hey, all my single people, raise your hand. Oh, man, I'm proud. I'm proud. That's what I'm talking about. See, online, all my single people scream. You're by yourself. You ain't got no reason not to scream. You better scream. I'm single and I hate it. Let me tell you something. I hear you, girl. That's what I'm getting at. You already preaching my sermon. I'm going to get Victoria up here to preach what I'm talking about. Boy. Oh, you want to do life with somebody? Great. You deserve that. Everybody wants, most everybody. Some people just like to be alone. They're just reclusive. It's hard enough for me to get them here once a year. You love, you want somebody to do life with. That's great, man. It's great. Wait for it, number one. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. But I'm going to tell you something. Wake up right now. You can wait for it and wake up because you got life to live single. Quit living your life like you're waiting for your life to start to find somebody. I'm telling you, God's got a garden. God's got something to do for you right now when you're single. And don't you dare think being single is pitiful. That's right. Man, I accomplished so much single. Man, I waited a lot longer than most people. And I'm going to tell you, I accomplished so much in those years that I was begging God, because I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't stop living. I was lonely, but I didn't stop living. I was able to accomplish so much. I'm not just talking about degrees and all that stuff, but all my college students, you need to do that too. But I'm going to tell you, I was able to accomplish so much that it has helped me accomplish more as a married person. It has made my marriage healthier and me healthier. You better live right now as a single person. And if you think being single is pitiful, you have never sat in a counseling session with people that should have never gotten married or got married too soon, because that is pitiful. That is sad. People that wake up next to a person that they can't stand, but they feel like they're stuck with. And you know why they did it? Because they truly never took God up on the promise as a single person. So guess what? 2 is better than 1? Depends what's 2. And honestly, if 2 people really aren't even a whole, they don't even know themselves. No, single people, you better live right now. Don't just wait on your life to line up or to find somebody. You got life to live today. Tell somebody why you're here. You better wake up. Wake up. Because you don't find life with another person. You find life with Jesus. You either believe it or you don't. You can keep reeling because of rejection. Don't wait till 17 divorces to find out that you got something worth waking up for. Don't wait until disappointment that you have 3 kids that can't stand you. And it's not because you're a bad person. It's because you never really figured out what life was because you were looking for it in the graveyard. And your kids, you're a great person. Your kids just have nothing in common because you never figured yourself out. Why are you here? The gospel's raw, but it's real. Can I get that picture up? Boy. Be quiet, Randall. Don't rub it in. Y'all, I tried so hard to grow that thing for the wedding for Angie. Man, it ain't nothing to be proud of today, but it was better. It's better now than it was. Take that thing down, baby. I'm looking at like a little kid. She tells me, at least you don't look like a little boy anymore. I'm like, yeah. So today, Angie and I have been married 6 years. It's our 6th wedding anniversary. And I'm just going to tell you, God, we packed a lifetime in 6 years. I was talking to some pastors in the community the last few weeks, and I was telling them, and they were like, yeah. Well, we've lived what many don't get to live in a lifetime in 6 years. We're just getting started. But I'm going to tell you something. Year 6, by a long shot, has been the heaviest year of our marriage. Man, people are like, you're going to survive year 1 and 2. No, year 6 was rough. And COVID was like number 7 on the list for us. It's like, COVID, Man, I'm telling you, year 6 was the year that we didn't have to really work through things that predate Ben and Angie, all the blended family, my background. No. Year 6, we had to learn and process through some things that Benji had created and had to learn from. Oh yeah, it was raw. Matter of fact, our year 6 is a thing that either drives couples away from each other or makes them closer. Period. There's no in between. I'll tell you what I've learned in year 6. No, and nobody. People think they understand. They don't. Nobody can. Nobody really can. We've had to make some of the hardest decisions of our life. Oh, we have. It's been heartbreaking. It's been heartbreaking. But we had to make them. And we've had to process through our own ones that are personal, that aren't about the church or about life in general. It's been hard. And we have had to be at peace. Because let's face it, pastoring, criticism comes with the territory. And if you're really doing something that reaches people, it's even worse. And if you can't take the heat, boy, you better get out of the kitchen. And I'm talking to myself, like every day I'm like, oh God, I want to go home. Just comes with it. But we have had to be at peace knowing that not just decisions that we've made and will make in the coming years, because there will always be year sixes. In your life, my life. We've had to be at peace that people don't understand, and people, honestly, you can't understand, just like I can't understand your story. I'm going to tell you what we've learned the most is when everything falls apart around me, I'm going home to Angie. Oh, y'all, I thought I knew it until the last year. Like, Catalyst Church, don't you dare miss what's going on around you. Don't miss what's going on in front of you because everything's going wrong around you. Because there's some things that God has given you, blessings right in front of you. Quit focusing on what's going on around you. Focus on the blessings that God has given you right in front of you, because you're going to miss it. You're going to miss it. I have learned that if everything falls apart around me, not just I feel like it, if one day it does, I'm going home to Angie. If people think they have me summed up and they think I'm the worst person in the world, whether they just heard me online or whether they love me and just don't like me and walk, at the end of the day, I'm going home to Angie. If I do make a stupid decision that is wrong one day, if I make a decision that is so outside the person I am one day, if I do make a bad decision and I blow it and Angie knows it and I know it, I'm still going home to Angie. And that is a peace that drew us close together. It's not my God, but it's a blessing that God put right in front of me. I got kids that love me, adore me. They're growing up. Man, they're growing up, and a lot of them are starting their own life now. I just got to feed mostly Garrett. That's a bad one, by the way. I just got my last name, got my appetite. There's been moments lately, or the last year, definitely the last 6 months, that I've been my world's swirling. And God is like, boy, you waited so long, and you got a family that loves you. They adore you. Don't you miss what I've got right in front of you, focusing on what's going wrong around you. Don't you do it. Man, and by the way, I'm going to be a grandfather in July, y'all. Like grandpas, if you don't know the story, you can either come back to Catalyst or you won't know it, period. Sorry. The point is, I'm going to be a grandfather, and Charlotte Ray is going to have Allie's rolling eyes, Connor's smart mouth. I'm going to be crazy about her. She's going to be crazy about me, probably a little more crazy when she gets to the age that she can appreciate my old self. But I'm going to tell you, God has put some things right in front of me that I'm not going to lose focus on anything that goes wrong around me, because there will always be year sixes. That's right. Your life and mine. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? You don't have to get lost in any season. Why are you here? Tell somebody, wake up. Throw that picture up, babe. Oh, man, dishes, they ain't going anywhere. You're going to do the dishes to the day you die. You're going to die doing dishes, and probably when you die, you're going to leave the dishes for somebody else to do. They're not going anywhere. Dishes are eternal. Sometimes I think a tease in heaven's going to be saying, hey, we got some, I'm psych. Just play it with you. Come on in. Dishes aren't going anywhere. This, can we get that next picture? Mm-hmm. That is going to go somewhere. It's going to lessen. It's going to change. And you better not focus on those dishes when you got moments like that. Because I'm telling you, dishes are going to always pile up. Handle the dishes later. Enjoy what's in the living room and at the table now. Because your kids are going to grow up, and you're going to get time with them if you do it right. But you better not focus. It's living in the graveyard, man. The angel says, why are you looking for the living among the dead? Let go of the dishes. The dishes will handle themselves later. Well, I just hurt somebody's feelings. It's all right. I know what hurt y'all's feelings. Y'all love me or hate me. I don't know. Man, you don't get time back. God can redeem your life, but He does not give you time back here. He can restore what you lost, but you don't get it back. You don't. You need to quit working so hard to get ahead that you miss what's right in front of you. Amen. Mamas and daddies, you need to quit putting so much pressure on yourself to provide for your family, because the pressure you're putting on yourself to provide for your family is crippling your ability to enjoy them. That's right. The work will be there the next day when you get back, but your kids won't always be at home for you to put to bed. And when you don't have a closeness and connection with them that you wanted, you better look back in this season, because God was saying all along, why are you here? Man, I have learned, I'm telling you, I've learned we're going to, there's always stuff to do here, but we got to leave it and go home. Man, ministry is beautiful, but it isn't where life happens. Matter of fact, can we throw that up? Can we throw that next picture up? That is not where life happens. Let me tell you something. That is not where life happens. This is where life is missed. This is 2021. Why are you here? This is where life is missed, y'all. You're in this beautiful moment with your family. You're connecting with friends. You're having a great time, and you've got to take 17,000 pictures to prove that you were there. But you really weren't there. You talk about the biggest trick of them all. Why are you here? Man, at the kitchen table with your family, you can watch videos and look at your phone and make fun of everybody else's ridiculousness later. Why don't you invest in each other and laugh at each other's ridiculousness and put your freaking phones up? Why are you here? You were looking for life and you were missing life because you're looking in a graveyard. And God is saying, I've got a moment right in front of you that you're missing. You go on a trip and you don't get to enjoy the trip. Like 18 million pictures you post when you get back. You missed it. You missed it. My family, I was late to the party, y'all. I was a very late addition to the B family. I missed a lot of years, but I'm going to tell you, I haven't missed a thing. We are as close as a family can be. You know why that is? We're not perfect, but we make moments matter. We do. We make moments matter because you will miss life if you don't ask yourself, why are you here, and adjust. Because you can spend your life in a graveyard and never take God up on what he offers you today, not just one day. Why are you here, young people, right now? You hear me, young people? All my young people that aren't in catechids, I'm sorry, you should be, but I'm going to hurt your feelings if you're here. This is not where life happens. This is where fun happens. I have to it's easy for me as a parent to say, hey, man, Gary, I get to spend some time chilling, man. Garrett will 12-hour day, 7 days a week if I let him, especially in the summer. Garrett, get down here. Game over. Time to be with the family. Let's eat together and be together. I'm telling you, your kids need to spend some time face-to-face with their friends, because it's fun. It is fun to play with your friend across the county. That's great. But face-to-face is where depth is built. You look in the New Testament, and from the beginning, the depth in relationships was built in conversations at tables, not memes, not Facebook Messenger, not social media posts, not tweets. Depth is built at a table, face-to-face. Let them have fun. You bring boys to the house, bring girls, let them have fun. Let them connect. Let them build some intelligence socially, because they will miss life, and it's on you. And it's convenient to let them stay up there all day, but you're going to miss your kid, and they're going to miss the investment you can make, because you need to ask, why are you here? And one day your kids are going to be shorted some things because of that. Tell somebody, wake up. Y'all good? Y'all good out there? Mm-hmm. Social media. Oh, everybody loves to hate it, right? Oh, it's just, social media is ridiculous. It's magnified our negativity, sure. Why don't you do something about it? Oh, yeah, this probably changed and made a lot of us callous. Maybe all of us a little bit. Nobody wants to do anything about it. Well, it's just all that fake news. It's not social media. It's just all that fake news. Listen, all of it's fake news. Even your news is fake. My news is fake, because it is slanted in your bias and your truth. Because you only have one perspective, and it's your own. All of it's fake. You live and die by your social media, and you wonder, like, that's all fake. No. Social media is a place to pretend. if you don't really use it the way it's supposed to be used, it's a place to feel better about living in a graveyard and not taking God up. It's a place to pretend. Matter of fact, it does to your brain. It gives you likes, shares, comments. You get a hit of dopamine just like a drug. But we're out here judging the people that are using drugs to kill themselves and 18 divorces and in jail. It's the same thing, except social media, when you misuse it, is just more socially acceptable. You want to pretend like you've got the marriage that you want to have, but really you're in a graveyard and you know it deep down. You just choose to pretend and not deal with it. And God is saying, why are you here? Why are you here? You know you need to do something about it. I do. I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people, we're like, yeah, I need to do something about it. Maybe you do. When something drains you, what do? You need to detox sometimes. What is that? But I don't have this, all my photo albums, I'd lose all my pictures. Let me tell you something. That's not an excuse. There are ridiculous amounts of virtual photo albums. You just want to stay in a graveyard. You don't like, you're curious. I just want to see what ridiculousness comes next. Why are you here? Man, I'm telling you, for me, that unfollow button is beautifully effective. You don't want to delete the app, man. They don't even have to see that you don't see them. But you don't see them. Why are you here? Why are you here? Maybe you need to delete your app. Because a lot of us, we post about things that we want. We post about things that we wish we had the courage to do. You put it as you're encouraging everybody else. Social media has become a place that we pretend and we project, and all while feeling better about living in something that God doesn't intend for us to live in. And I'm telling you, Easter is all good and dandy, but you're going to be miserable until you decide to answer the question and do something about it. Why are you looking for the living among the dead? Why are you doing it? You do not have to do it. Man, we put so much into other people's opinions and culture's definitions. So much. What they say we should be, what they say success and significance are. We look at what our friends say, how much money and what type of parent we're supposed to be. We live our lives putting the type of pressure on ourselves, and it is not what you want for yourself. It's what other people and culture says. So you spend your life chasing money, and man, you get it, and it's not what you thought it was, or you never get it, and you think it's because you're not getting it that you feel terrible. We put everything into sports, and then you didn't live up to your expectations, so you try to put all the pressure on your kids to live up to it, and guess what? They grow up and they make the same dumb decisions to stay in a graveyard when God's offering them life. And you're not bad. It's not that you're dumb. You're making bad decisions, and God, the promise of Easter, can change your life today. And you don't even realize it. You've got all these things, all these definitions built up. I ran out of stuff. Okay. College degrees? Test scores, man. All these test scores, man. This is what makes me me. This is what defines me. No. You're like, I want my kids to learn from my mistakes. Well, you need to quit perpetuating and repeating your biggest one. It's you put too much pressure on yourself. You're trying too hard to measure up, and you don't even know what the right scoreboard is because you put the pressure on what everybody else tells you. And Jesus, 2,000 years ago, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? Your income level does not define you. Your test scores don't define you. Your abilities don't define you. Your disabilities don't define you. Your dysfunction doesn't define you. Nothing defines you except your Creator. And until you find the definition and find who your Creator called you to be, you're going to spend your life in a graveyard, and all you're ever going to do is hope for the promise that is right in front of you. And life is going to happen, but it's going to be a lot harder when you're pulling from dead places trying to find life. Man, if test scores define people, I would be screwed. I've never met anybody that made a lower SAT score than me. Try me. I promise you won't. I'm telling you, know me long enough, I'm remedial in most everything that you're good at. But I'm going to tell you, I found the couple things in my life that my mind, and I can work circles around every one of you. And you know how I found it? Not in a graveyard. Man, I got Tourette syndrome. I got ADD, and I probably got a good touch of Asperger's. But you know what? I didn't find it in a graveyard. I had to day by day say other people don't define me. Culture doesn't tell me. I got B's in preaching. People told me you're Southern. I've heard it over and over. And one day, one decision at a time, I found what God has called me to do. And on the worst day in this heavy, heartbreaking season, I wouldn't want to do anything else. And it doesn't happen living in a graveyard. Why are you here? The promise of Easter is today. It's today. It's today. It's today.